Okay, just want to give it some time. We're going to give it about 5 minutes to see who joins. Yeah, we'll give it about 5 minutes to see who joins. Let me give you a little background music while you wait. Something that they can't copyright and hit me with. Give us time. Okay, that's how you see the chats. Okay. A couple more minutes, we'll be getting on. All right, we'll be starting in a minute. Another 40 seconds, and we'll be starting. Okay, turn this camera on. Unfortunately, I'm in my little work spot, so I need you guys to bear with me. The messy background. But we about to start, y'all. We about to start. Welcome, welcome, welcome to T Mike TV, where we cover everything. We're not trying to be like any other channel, we're trying to be us. Now, just so y'all know, matter of fact, before we get started, y'all hit that like, subscribe if you ain't subscribed, share this video with your friends. I do the videos for the love. I'm not qualified to get monetized, but I ain't gonna stop putting the videos out. It was disappointing, but it is what it is. Now, what we're gonna look at tonight is some terrifying cryptic creatures lurking in the dark, in dark corners. So, yeah, we're gonna see how this go. But I don't know all the rules as far as what to do on camera, what to say on camera. I'm gonna keep it all 100, y'all. It's live, it's not scripted. But yeah, somebody told me this is supposed to be a pretty good video, so we're gonna check it out and see how that go. Hold on. Every now and again, I'm gonna turn the camera off, just to do what I do. I'm here, y'all. But let's get started. Let's get started.
Kicking off at number 5, the Loveland Frogmen. Hailing from the misty swamps and vast wetlands of rural Ohio, the Loveland Frogmen, also affectionately known as the Loveland Lizards, are a cryptid unlike no other and have...
Did he say Loveland Frogmen?
Reportedly appeared under several bizarre circumstances on a regular basis in Ohio's Clermont County. Allegedly, the first sightings of these eerie bipedal amphibians first occurred in 1955 and has proven to be one of the most intriguing cryptozoological mysteries in North America. The creatures themselves allegedly live in the temperate forests and wetlands of Clermont County and are able to survive the cold winters of the region without having to hibernate. Useful. During their first sighting at approximately 3:30 a.m., a local businessman was driven down a lonely stretch of road, running alongside the Miami River on the outskirts of the small town known as Loveland, Ohio. Suddenly and out of nowhere, the man claimed to have witnessed 3 bipedal quasi-reptilian entities emerge from the...
Wait a minute. The Loveland Cave. They were talking about this possible giants over there, or there were giants in that. We're going to get into that. We got some things to talk about. Well, let's get back to this frog dude. Frog dude. I'm not biting this one.
Reeds and begin to congregate by the side of the road. The man slowed down and turned out his lights as he pulled his car up to a curb to observe these creatures further. He claimed that they stood between 3 and 4 feet tall, were covered with leathery skin and had webbed hands and feet. Their most distinguishing feature, though, was their distinctly frog-like head, which the man claimed bore deep wrinkles where their hair should have been. Well, since then, over 5 more sightings of the Loveland Frogmen have occurred over a 60-year period. What do you guys think? What's going on, Ohio? Next up at number 4, the nameless thing of Berkeley Square. And I absolutely love this story either way, because if you've ever heard of the famed 50 Berkeley Square in London, England, then you'll know that, cryptid or not, this place is terrifying.
Okay, have any of you guys ever heard of this place? Now, like I said, actually one of my subscribers, said take a look at this video, and so this is what we're doing. I mean, you guys have some videos you might want me to check out, react to, and leave them in the comments below. But the Berkeley thing, I don't know. Let's see what's going on.
Enough. It's proof as well that there are some cases out there which irk on the realm of the paranormal and become
My apologies. I forgot I didn't put my headphones in for the mic, you guys. So bear with me. Hold on. My apologies, guys. Coffee is beautiful. All right, we're back.
category so unexplainable that they don't really fit into anything, or can fit into anything. I don't know, it's pretty nebulous. Either way though, the haunted legacy of Berkeley Square has featured ghosts and poltergeists the world over, and it's widely considered to be one of the most haunted places in England. But there is one particular instance that takes the cake, the nameless thing of Berkeley Square. A tale that takes place in 1840 when a 20-year-old Sir Robert Warboys got into a drunken dare in which he had written off Berkeley Square and its paranormal reputation as a whole load of Kaiser Soze. He put money down that he could spend the night in the building's most cursed and haunted second floor, and so the next evening did exactly that, with a pistol in his hand for robbers, I guess, and a makeshift pulley line attached to a bell in case he saw anything out of the ordinary. He drank a whole load of courage and tried to get some shut-eye, but well, of course, young Bobby Warboy's story cuts out there. When the landlord was awoken by the bell ringing incessantly and ran upstairs to check on him, he found Robert Warboys dead as a doornail, slouched in the corner with his eyes bulging in terror. Legend has it that the landlord witnessed an amorphous, shadowy form with slime oozing from it, claws and tentacles and all dripping from its form, suddenly slink back into the shadows of the corner of the room.
I'm not believing this one.
And since
what do you
then,
guys
tales
think?
of the nameless thing of Berkeley Square are more common than
Nameless
any of us
thing
would
of
actually
Berkeley
like.
Square.
Swinging in at number 3, the Kinderhook Blob, which is just a great name, really, isn't it? And if I'm being honest, the legend of the Kinderhook Blob is exactly what cryptid tales are made of.
These names
so,
sound
strap
familiar,
in. It's sometime in
Kinderhook.
1962 New York, and on 6
might be
separate
mixing it with
occasions, multiple
Kaldahar.
witnesses encountered a floating, mysterious blob-like creature that
The
was so
Kaldahar
terrifying
giant.
in its
How many of
form
you guys
that
heard
2
of
men
that?
armed with shotguns fled in terror. The initial encounter was from a 10-year-old boy named Hallenbeck and his 7-year-old cousin Chari. They were playing in the dense woods nearby their house when all of a sudden they both heard this really high-pitched whistle noise, and suddenly from behind a nearby pine tree they witnessed a white amorphous object appear in full view, which slowly began writhing toward them. On 5 more occasions, which insanely would happen over the next 12 years, all the way until 1978, dozens of eyewitnesses would explain in vivid detail similar accounts of an amorphous white blob-like creature that would emerge from the woods, often attaching its tendrils to trees whilst incessantly making its way towards its victims, causing them to flee in terror. So much so that on one occasion 2 grown men tried.
Here we go. Heads in takeoff mode.
Let's fly. Flee in terror. So much so that on one occasion 2 grown men tried blowing it to pieces with shotguns to no avail, and then turned tail and ran. What I love about this story is the essence of a cryptid tale. For all intents and purposes, the Kinderhook blob could be a disused weather balloon floating listlessly through the air, but because it was seen multiple times by multiple people in the right setting, the legend of the terrifying white blob quickly became a horrifying reality. Either
I'm
that
not
or it's a
believing this
sentient
story
alien life
either.
form that's going to consume us all. So, yeah. Coming in next at number 2, the disappearance of Peter Grayson. The Groot slang, or the Groat slang,
Peter
which in
Grayson.
Afrikaans loosely translates to big snake, is a legendary creature widely considered to be one of the continent's most prolific cryptids, and is reputed to dwell exclusively
Giant
in the
snake.
deep caves and cavernous systems in the
Again, y'all
Richtersveld,
excuse the
South Africa.
background.
According to
Some
legend, the
work
Groot
being
slang is a
done.
primordial creature that is
Working on a
reputedly
little
as old as the
studio
world
area.
itself and dwells within
Gotta
what
redo the
locals refer to
walls.
as the bottomless pit, which also,
Don't talk about
conveniently
me.
enough,
Help me.
is also filled with precious diamonds. Well, diamonds historically have a proficiency
Oh,
of
I didn't mean to
attracting
do that on
daring
camera.
adventurers, and one of those adventurers just so happened to be an English businessman known as Peter Grayson. In 1917, Grayson and a team of excavators began an expedition into the Richtersveld cave system, accompanied by several local guides. After heading out into the rocky desert landscape, and upon hearing that Grayson intended to descend into the bottomless pit, unwittingly the lair of the Groot slang, the local guides quickly left after warning Grayson that they'd lost friends and family to the violent serpent before, and they weren't going to do it again. He shrugged it off, and alongside his 2 excavators headed deep
My
into the
bad
cave.
about it.
And,
This
well,
is my
that's the
first
last that
time
they
doing
heard
a
of
real
any of them.
live,
The
so
Grayson dynasty faded into
still
obscurity
trying to
after
learn the
their
features.
patriarch was never seen alive
Work
again.
with me.
But as the legend goes, one of the local guides returned to the cave a day or so later after feeling guilty for abandoning Grayson and his team. At the entrance of the cave, he found the body of an excavator, half of his body, actually, to be specific. His legs and most of his torso had been ripped clean off, and he died attempting to crawl back out. What a way to go. And finally, coming in at our number 1 spot, the legend of Yuri Grando. And I just have to tell this cryptid story because it's one of my favorites, and it's also considered to
Okay, hold on. Before you continue, let me get back on here. Listen, before he continue, out of the stories 5 through 1 so far, we haven't heard one yet, but how many of these sound believable? Y'all leave that in the comment below. Let me know what y'all think.
be one of the first historical instances of vampirism. As the legend goes, Yuri Grando Aljovic was a villager and poor peasant from the region of Istria, which now makes up modern-day Croatia. Historically, he was referred to as a strigoi, strigon or strigun, a local word for something that resembles a vampire and a warlock. Sometime around 1656, Yuri died due to an unknown illness, but according to legend, he regularly returned from the grave at night as a vampire to terrorize his village until his decapitation in 1672. The legend tells that for 16
Dracula.
years after his death, Yuri would rise from his grave by night and terrorize the village. The village priest, Giorgio, who had was Yura with pristine white flesh and no signs of decomposition. They tried to stake him once more, but witnesses noted that the stick would not penetrate its flesh. Eventually, the villagers were so terrified and kind of fed up with his vampire antics that a brave villager
I'm
known
not
as
believing
Stipan Milicic
any of
took
these
a saw and
stories, y'all. I'm
decapitated
sorry.
the
I thought
corpse.
it was
As
gonna
soon as
be
it tore
something
Yura's
spooky,
skin, the
something
vampire
scary.
screamed and blood began gushing
This
from
is
the
all
cut.
make-believe.
Allegedly, a man that was presumed dead for 16 years. Yeah, that one's pretty worrying, right?
Number 5, snow wasset. Coming up first on our list of
Let's see
icy
this
cold
group.
little
Let's see
critters
this
is
next
the snow
5.
wasset, a fearsome, legless little cryptid and a local one to boot, so I had to include it. Anything that comes from the greater Canada area is a big deal for me. It winters by the Great Lakes and the Hudson Bay, and in the rest of the year crawls up to Newfoundland and Labrador. Totally the wrong time.
Okay. Again, apologize for commercials.
Time of year, buddy. You got to go to Newfoundland in the winter for Jake's dinner. Anyway, a snow wasset is like
Wish I
a
could get
weasel.
some
It's a
in my
long,
videos.
furry creature, except it has no legs, except in the summertime where it does have legs and also turns green. If I was a biologist, I would love to get my hands on this thing and figure that out. That particular part of the lore of this creature is really fascinating to me. Why would a creature shed its legs like baby teeth? What cruel joke of evolution is that? It's like a mammal sandworm. Anyway, I gotta move on. When it's in its legless, winterized form, it burrows deep beneath the snow and ambushes its prey by surprise and drags them in.
Okay. So far, yeah, I'm not impressed, guys. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'm gonna let it go on. Let's see what's to come.
To the frozen underground. Absolutely horrifying. A frozen,
Maybe I
legless,
should watch
furry
them
little snake is
first
not
before
pleasant
I
by
get
any
on here. I
definition.
don't
A
know.
wasset is said to be 4 times as large as a wolverine and 40 times as hungry, requiring a vast amount of meat to keep it sustained. Doesn't shed enough calories shedding those legs. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so hung up on this, my ghouls, but I am. Maybe it's because there's not actually that much information about the snow wasset out there. Sightings and stories about it date back mostly hundreds of years, and there haven't been too much buzz about them ever since. Perhaps they're extinct. Or perhaps they've all just burrowed under too deep where I can't see them. Either way, the only thing that really stood out for me is they turn green and have no legs, so I'm gonna keep banging on that. And hey, when it's this cold outside, what do you really need to go out for? Stay inside, order some food, turn
He
the
is
heat up, and keep
entertaining.
watching Top Box Scary for the rest of the night. And while you're there,
If you
maybe
give me
think
something
about tossing
scary,
subscribe your way. It's not too much trouble. Number 4, the Nucklavi. Coming up next on this list is the Nucklavi, a cryptid that I had
Nucklavi.
never heard of before researching for this video. So I hope
Same
it's new to
here.
you too, and you get to learn something cool. The Nucklavi.
How many of you guys have heard of this? Like, first of all, how many of you guys heard of any of these? Let me know. Put it in the comments. Don't forget, like the video, guys. If you like it. If you don't like it, hit the thumb down twice.
Is an old Nordic myth, a demon of the sea appearing as a horrifying demonic part horse, part man, part thing hybrid. Seriously, this thing is disgusting. It looks like somebody glued a bunch of leftover horse parts and man parts together, and it's completely skinless, leaving its exposed flesh to all
Remind
the
me of that
elements to
movie
see. Kinda looks
Centipede,
like one of those behind the scenes
or the one
videos
Human
how they make
Centipede.
McDonald's chicken nuggets, you know? The Nucklavi is said to be trapped in the sea during the warmer months of the
Am I gonna get like copyrighted because he said McDonald's chicken nugget?
year, and then come winter is set free to wreak all kinds of havoc. This thing is pure evil, destroys just by breathing. The horsey head part emits toxic fumes just by opening its wretched maw, and this vapor causes crops to wilt, people to fall ill, and drought soon follows after. I see why they keep this thing locked up for most of the year, because it kind of sounds like a royal nuisance. It's thought that the Nucklavi was first created by old Nordic storytellers as a way of rationalizing and explaining away things like drought and plague.
I honestly thought we were going to be looking at some scary and creepy videos.
Your problems, and when that problem is a wretched flayed horseman, it's easy to get angry
I'm a bit
at that. When
disappointed.
stories of the Nucklavi were told, it was thought to be so evil. The name was always said in a hushed whisper for fears of speaking too loudly of it could attract.
Let me clarify. I'm not disappointed in his videos and how they're being presented. I'm disappointed because I was told that this is going to be some spooky shit that we can look at and, and it's not. It's more along the line of stories. Stuff could be real, could not be real. So far, I'm not believing any of the ones I've heard. Not a one. So I don't know. Let's continue a little longer and see where it goes. But yeah.
Attention. Oh, I wish I knew that about 2 minutes ago. I just said its name like 16 times very loudly. It said that if you're ever to encounter the dread Nucklavi, to find the nearest fresh body of water. This sickly creature of the sea is deathly afraid of fresh water, I guess. You think a creature with all that skin exposed wouldn't like salt water or the cold, but hey, there you go. To each their own. You do you, terrifying skinless monster horseman. Number 3, a Chenu. A Chenu is an Algonquin creature of folklore, a bit similar to a Wendigo, but with some fun regional twists. While both creatures hunt in wooded northern areas and are both commonly associated with
I've
the
never heard of
winter
this
time,
one
a Wendigo
either.
is usually depicted as a stretched out, emaciated monster, whereas a Chenu is depicted as being massive, very furry, and only getting larger and larger the more it eats. Actually, reading that back now, I realize that's not terribly impressive. Most things get larger and larger as they eat. Much like a Wendigo, though, a Chenu is thought to have been formerly a man who was turned into a beast, either through their greedy ways, refusing to feed the starving, or for those who give in to the darkest of temptations and consume human flesh willingly.
I don't think you guys gonna let this video be made public anyways.
Large and imposing in appearance, with big chunks of their own flesh missing, possibly self-inflicted. They cover themselves in the forest, hiding themselves with leaves, bark, snow,
Commercial.
Vanilla bean, mint chocolate chip, rocky road. You're riding up.
Bark, snow, pine needles, until they look like a horrible lint roller of the woods that walks upright. Interestingly, unlike a Wendigo, it's thought that the process of turning into a Chenu can actually be reversed. There's some good news. In some folk tales, the way to cure a Chenu is a special medicine that can cause them to vomit up their frozen heart and vomit up the flesh that they've consumed, causing the afflicted to revert back to their human form in a sight that is no doubt
Vomit
disgusting for
up a
everybody. But
frozen
if this
heart.
isn't
Wouldn't that
possible, if
kill
you don't
'em?
have this medicine on hand, or it's just not feasible to trick a Chenu, you can also get it to eat salt, which will apparently melt it from the inside. Poor
Wow.
Chenu. You're forced to live a tormented existence as a snow monster, isolated from your former friends, doomed to hunt on your former species, consuming only the darkest meat available, and you can't even order a little bit of salt for your dinner, eating a totally flavorless diet. I got nothing but sympathy for you, Chenu. Number 3, Kamataichi. I think it's really fascinating what each culture's cryptids look like, you know? Each culture creates cryptids, and they all put their fun little spins on it. And whenever I get to make these videos,
Kamatachi.
I learn all sorts of really cool mythological stuff that I never heard of before. And I sincerely hope you get that out of these videos too. I never heard
I'll
this
give
next
'em
one,
that.
the Kamataichi, but I am obsessed with it now.
Kamataichi.
Coming to us from Japan, this yokai, which is like a Japanese type of demon, appears like a weasel except with razor-sharp, sickle-like claws, like a real-life Sneasel from Pokemon. I'm actually amazed there's no Pokemon directly based on a Kamataichi. They seem like perfect for it. They have spiny fur, similar to a hedgehog, like prickly little needles, but they bark like a dog, and their claws could not be any sharper, and they're sickle-shaped. And also, a lot of depictions of them are downright adorable. These funny little creatures are extremely lightweight, and have learned how
Okay. He said adorable, right? Y'all see what this is? Which one of y'all want to pet? Which one of y'all motherfuckers want to pet? Yeah, one of y'all. One of you, yeah, one of y'all want one of these. Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
ride the currents of the wind to travel. They
I'm
honestly
good.
sound kind of like radical in like a California surfer way. The legends of the Kamataichi come out of the Chubu region of Japan, when vicious cold winds were so powerful they would cut people down directly. And these legends would take the form of the spirit called the Kamataichi, which was the winds themselves as this furry little miscreant. It would attack at your legs, causing you to fall down, exposed and helpless, while it sucked at your blood. It's said that no blood occurs from their woundings because of this, as a Kamataichi moves so quickly and sucks it all up. That's almost considerate of it, doesn't leave a stain. These creatures move so quickly, and they're so good at hiding, that they're apparently completely invisible to the naked eye, appearing as nothing more than a sharp, freezing wind on your skin. Amusingly, there's some debate as to whether or not a Kamataichi's true origin is actually nothing more than a silly pun. There's a stance samurai would use called a Kamatachi, translating loosely to sword stance, which would explain, you know, it's a sharp thing. I don't know where the stance comes in, but it's sharp. However, there are legends all throughout Japan, throughout many regions, all telling stories of creatures that ride the wind and attack humans, and the sickle weasel remains among the most popular and among the most adorable. Sorry, Kamataichi, you are just so cute. If anybody knows where to get like a stuffed toy of this little guy, please comment on the video. I need to know. Number 1, the Yeti. Coming in at the number 1 spot, a mainstay of any trip to the mountain, the Yeti. I mean,
Obviously, I do believe these are real. I do. Yeti, Squatch, whatever you want to call them. But I don't know if I would classify them as, what do they say? Primate or whatever. I would classify them more along the line of the descendants of the fallen angels, the Nephilims. But I don't know. Again, that's another topic to get into on another day.
who else could possibly take the number 1 spot on a list about winter cryptids? Maybe Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Does he count as a cryptid? I guess he was. Maybe he's more like a mutant. Anyway, a Yeti is an American manufacturer specializing in outdoor products such as ice coolers, vacuum-insulated drinkware, and I'm reading the wrong one. So, sorry. Let's do that again. A Yeti refers to an ape-like creature thought to live in the mountains in the Himalayas, standing upright like a man and walking on 2 legs, and is usually pretty big, like 8 feet tall, with long arms, broad feet, and long brownish hair and sunken eyes. It kind of sounded a bit like me, to be honest. While it's pretty common to draw a Yeti as just being like a big giant white gorilla, they're actually pretty different, and most traditional depictions of a Yeti color it with darker fur. They're probably one of the oldest cryptids out there that's still talked about so fondly, with stories of Yetis going all the way back to 326 BC, when Alexander the Great sought out
Oh man, with the commercials.
326 BC.
How many out there wouldn't mind seeing one of these with your natural eyes? Not videos, not somebody else's recording. Like really seeing one. I'm gonna be honest. I want to. I want. How many of you guys want to? Leave it in the comments below. What would you do if you did come across one?
When Alexander the Great sought out to capture one to see for himself while he was conquering the Indus Valley, although he was told that no Yeti could survive at an altitude low enough to meet him, and Alexander wept, for there were no more Yetis left to conquer. It's got several names. It's sometimes called a Sasquatch, or in the West, it's popularly referred to as an abominable snowman, although that's a term by British officers who were stationed in the Himalayas, as no natives to the region call it that. The name Yeti possibly comes from the Tibetan words Yete, meaning a man-like animal, or from Meti, meaning bear in some Nepalese and Tibetan dialects, which would make a good bit of sense, as it's thought that a number of Yeti sightings over the years that led to it being such a widely recognized cryptid could actually just be bear sightings being mistaken in the frosty air. In fact, there's a theory that Yeti sightings are from hybrid polar bears that had bred with grizzly bears, which has been recorded to happen, just not really anywhere where Yeti sightings are really made, so kind of up in the air. In Sherpa tradition, it's said that a Yeti is a powerful, mystical being, and a Yeti can choose to whom it will make itself visible to, choosing to only appear to those who believe in it. So if you're ever trekking the Himalayas and worried about an attack, here's a little advice for you: just don't believe in it. Although there are a good number of people who believe that the Yeti are an intelligent enough species that just want to be left alone to their own devices, living peacefully in the mountains. Not so abominable after all.
Kicking off at number 5, The Silver Woman. And this story comes from a...
Okay. That was 1 5. That was another 5. We're gonna give this one more last 5. I know the video is supposed to be over an hour long, but I don't know. But that last guy he was entertaining. He made it fun. Let's see if this guy's trying to make us believe what he's trying to say, or I don't know. How many of this stuff you guys believe? Make sure y'all leave that in the comment below, right next to the thumb up.
Police motorway patrol woman from Portsmouth, England, who explains that her career regularly confronts her with situations that are both bizarre and unnerving. But this one kind of takes the cake. On the 25th of November, around 6:30 p.m., during a routine speed camera setup in the Portsmouth city centre, her speed trap began picking up random tracings of non-existent objects in pitch black darkness, hurtling past her vehicle at around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Now, I know what you might be thinking: the device was obviously malfunctioning, but that wasn't the case, and our police officer had already thought of that. She trained the camera manually back onto the road surface to see what had been picked up, and she was shocked to discover that on the screen was what could only be described as humanoid figures running up and down the street at about 40 feet ahead of the vehicle. Strangely enough, they seemed to have a silver appearance to them, almost shimmering and translucent. She looked out of the window, and again, nothing was there. But when she looked back at the screen, about 10 feet away from the vehicle was one of the same silvery entities standing motionless, facing away from the van, hulking and breathing in a strange fashion, as if they were weighing up taking on the police officer. What were they? Well, we'll never know. And when she played the tape back for her fellow officers, the silvery entities were nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I've got no clue about this one. Coming in at number 4.
Now I would have loved seeing that.
Now, Bigfoot is obviously the heavy hitter of the cryptid world. People have devoted their entire lives to hunting down the elusive mountain creature, stretching all the way across the wildlands of North America, as well as similar instances across the planet. But there is one little town in America that seems to be the hotspot for these sightings: Folk, Arkansas. And in 1971, it became the scene of it.
Folk, Arkansas. Have you guys heard of that being one of the hotbeds? I'm gonna be honest. This is my first time hearing of that place. And I've been watching a lot of Bigfoot stuff for years.
Most terrifying legend. Meet Bobby Ford, a man who vehemently claims he's seen Bigfoot or a version of it, describing it as 7 feet tall, ridiculously fast, and covered in long brown hair. And he saw it up close and personal. It was a Saturday when Bobby and his brother were out hunting a short distance from their rural home when they heard screams in the distance. Bobby's wife, Elizabeth Ford, was frozen in horror when a creature reached through the front window, massive and hairy with glowing red eyes that made no sound except for heavy breathing. When Bobby and his brother ran back to the home, the creature turned and grabbed him as he sprinted up to the porch. It tackled him to the ground with ease and then disappeared into the woodland. The creature had left behind clear tracks in the house and nearby area, 3-toed footprints that matched the deep 3-fingered scratches that were made.
Say your worst fears were realized.
Oh my
What is the
God, I
worst
hate
thing that
commercials,
could happen?
y'all. Please forgive me.
That matched the deep 3-fingered scratches that were made in the wood of the front porch. Bobby Ford was rushed to hospital and treated for minor wounds and shock, and the family were so terrified by the encounter that they moved out.
Oh,
They'd only lived there a week. That's terrible timing. Next up at
that's
number
possible.
3, the Grey Man of Ben Macdui. Ben Macdui in Gaelic, Mountain of the Son of Duff, is an awe-inspiring peak of the Scottish Highlands, staking the claim as one of Britain's highest mountains and the highest of the Cairngorms National Park. It's been scaled by countless people throughout history, but there are those that claim that there's something more sinister living out on the mountain. The Grey Man of Ben Macdui. And it doesn't like visitors. The creature is said to be at least 20 feet tall, and one eyewitness of the creature's presence, a respected professor and mountain climber named Norman Colley, said that he was first aware of something following him during his ascent after hearing strange footsteps behind him. Alone, isolated on the mountain, something was following him. And it wasn't human. The footsteps were laborious and delayed, as if that whatever was following him was much, much taller than he was. When he saw it, he described the Grey Man as vaguely human-shaped, brown in hue and fur, and shrouded in a strange grey mist. In 1945, a similar thing happened to a renowned mountain climber named Peter Densham, who described the exact same encounter with the exact same creature. Again, in 1958, the Scots magazine wrote of a similar account from naturalist Alexander Tunian, who this time found himself armed with a rifle and fired
So
several rounds
far,
into the
his
Grey
shit,
Man. He thought he'd hit it, whatever it
sound
was,
plausible.
but after trekking over through the snow, found no sign of the creature. It vanished away like fog rolling across a mountain, and the mystery of the Grey Man of Ben Macdui remains unsolved. Swinging in at number 2, the Cabbagetown Tunnel Monster, which is an urban legend from my current stomping grounds of Toronto, Ontario, that is grounded in such bizarre circumstances that remains a warning not to go wandering through the dark tunnels of downtown Toronto. I'm talking about the path. Ever. Don't go there. In 1978, in the eastern Cabbagetown
muggers will
district
get
of
you.
Toronto,
It
a
ain't no
51-year-old
monster.
man known as Ernest had a terrifying encounter in the network of tunnels that sprawl beneath the city. He had been out searching the neighborhood for a missing kitten that him and his wife had been raising when he stumbled across a tunnel entrance and decided to explore. After venturing 10 feet into the gloom, Ernest suddenly came across a creature that looked somewhat like a long, thin monkey, around 3 feet in height, with large teeth and covered in grey fur. It had unsettling eyes, he described, that peered out of the darkness in a bright orange hue. Even more unsettling, Ernest claimed that the creature spoke to him. Go away, it said in a hissing voice before slinking down a tunnel off onto the side. Ernest was reluctant to come forward with his story. He was a respected member of the community and he feared that he'd be ridiculed by his peers. But after being convinced by a friend, he spoke to the Toronto Sun, and a group of journalists and investigators followed him into the same tunnel. Although they didn't see the creature, they did see that the narrow tunnel led to a strange, gloomy chasm that dropped into the unseen sewer system below. And even stranger, they found the maimed, half-eaten carcass of a cat buried loosely beneath the dirt and debris. It permeated the legend of the Cabbagetown Tunnel Monster, and whatever it was, we may never know for sure. Just stay away.
I'm not too sure about that one.
The Jersey Devil.
I've
Of
heard of
course,
this.
it has to be perhaps one of the most notorious cryptids of all time, the
Yeah.
famed Devil of Jersey, whose origin dates all the way back
Don't
to
know
when New
how real
Jersey
this
was still
is,
a British colony. Hundreds upon
but given
hundreds of tales
everything
have been
that's
spawned
happened
from the
since
legend of
that
the Jersey Devil,
eclipse,
dating from the early 1700s
maybe
right
some
up
of
to
these
recent
old
times.
stories
As the
are
legend
real.
goes, Mrs. Jane Leeds came from a poor family who carved out an existence in the bleak pine barrens of Jersey, a rugged place with dense forests, sandy soil, and deep swamps. In 1735, Mrs. Leeds discovered that she was pregnant with her 13th child, which is, as they say, unlucky for some. Now, Mrs. Leeds wasn't too keen on giving birth, to say the least, and she claimed to friends and relatives that the devil can take the next one. And that's exactly what he did. When the baby was born, it was monstrous with a scaly reptilian body, a horse's head, bat's wings, and a long forked tail. He spread his wings, shot up out of the chimney, and soared out across the pine barrens. The legend of the Jersey Devil was born. Now, whatever you think of this cryptid, truth, or urban legend, it's the frequency that the Jersey Devil appears in contemporary folklore that is important. Hundreds of people have reported sightings of a strange bat-like creature with wings and a forked tail, flapping its wings across the pine barrens and cackling into the night. In 1816, Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon, reported seeing the creature while hunting game in the woods. In 1840, a respected minister pointed his
So
congregation
this
towards a
story
ghastly
goes
creature
way back.
flapping above his church. And in 1909, literally thousands of people saw the same creature on the same day, at the same time, at multiple locations. In fact, it got so bad that schools had to close down and people just flat out refused to go outside.
How do y'all
And
feel
still,
about
to
this
this
one?
day, New Jersey natives will warn you to tread carefully in the pine barrens.
Number 4, Teke Teke. Coming in next is going to be a fairly newer urban legend, but it gripped me so much I had to.
Okay. that was interesting. That was interesting. Let's take a change and let's see what's going on with this one here.
Picture from Sagada, Philippines. It shows a creature with a huge head and long, bony arms coming out of a cave. This strange
Okay, now
creature
we're
seems to be
talking.
following the people.
We're gonna back this one up a
Seeing
little
blurry
bit.
things like this makes us wonder what they might be. If
Let's
real
find out if
giant
these are
creatures
real
exist, it's best to
or
leave
not.
them alone and live
I think we
peacefully.
should have just came here to begin with.
Poking the bear. This explorer found a weird blob and some unknown creature bones on the cave floor while exploring. What he did
That
next
looked like
shocked
an
him.
egg.
The explorer kept poking the blob with his foot, hoping to figure things out, but he had no idea what it was. Suddenly, a scary creature with horns appeared in front of him. The man freaked out and
Okay. Well, we actually have video footage of things. Now, it may only be a couple of seconds, but y'all tell me that does that look real to y'all? I mean, I don't know. Or is this part of a movie?
ran out of the cave quickly. He thought he might have seen a flying dragon, but he wasn't close enough to be sure. It disappeared back into the cave.
I don't know. That look kind
Cave
of real
one.
to me.
If you think those are the only cave sightings people have recorded, the surprise of a lifetime is just around the corner. Two young tourists with long blonde hair were on an exciting adventure
Now
trip
we're
that took a
talking.
strange turn when they entered a cave. As they
See,
ventured deeper into the cave, they
this is why I don't believe I will ever be one of those guys that go down in caves, especially without protection of something. I mean, holy water, cross, peace, something. Like, why would you even? I mean, I'm curious and I like to explore stuff, but there's a limit to my exploration. I guess that's why I'm not a technical explorer. Anywho, let's get back to the video, y'all. But this is crazy. What are you doing in these caves? What for? What? What are you looking for? Ah, how many of your guys be going down in caves? Wow.
stumbled upon a giant worm-like creature. It looked like the monster you'd hear about in
Now
old
that looked
stories.
real to
They
me,
couldn't
y'all.
believe their eyes. Some creatures from legends are real. The video quickly went viral, with some people amazed to see a mythical creature come to life. Of course, others think it's just fake computer
I don't
graphics.
know
What
about
do you
that,
think?
though.
Is this a real creature?
That look
Let us know
real
in the
in every
comments.
sense. I mean, even the way the light is.
Bony arms. The internet also came under shock by a spooky picture from Sagada, Philippines. It shows a creature with a huge head and long, bony arms coming out of a cave. This strange creature seems
Um, what?
bony arms. The internet also came under shock by a spooky picture from Sagada,
First of all, the title for this one is way off. How about big head? Did y'all see the size of the head on that?
Philippines. It shows a creature with a huge head and
Yeah,
long, bony
huge.
arms
That's what.
coming out of a cave. This strange creature seems to be following the
Wait a
people who
minute.
filmed it. The video was posted by someone who didn't
3 fingers with one opposing appendage. 4 on. Did y'all notice the hand? Like you see 3 fingers, but then there's y'all. Look at the hand. Look at the hand,
picture from
y'all.
Sagada, Philippines. It shows a creature with a huge head and long, bony arms coming out of a cave. This strange creature seems to be following the people who filmed it. The video was posted by someone who didn't want to be known, leaving everyone wondering what the creature was. Was it guarding the cave, or did it have something else in mind? This mysterious creature is so scary that it keeps people away from the cave to date. It makes you wonder if it's real or fake. Don't miss the next scene, where things get more interesting. Cave
It blinked.
Skinwalker.
That thing blinked.
A couple on a trip was feeling adventurous and decided to enter a dark cave hidden in some rocky hills. As they went deeper, they realized it was an old mine shaft with tracks running down and metal doors sealing the entrance. Curiosity got the better of them, and they peeked inside, hoping to find something interesting. Unfortunately, it was pitch black, and they couldn't see anything.
It's a cave.
Feeling relieved, they didn't find anything dangerous. They were about to turn back when they saw something terrifying. A pair of glowing eyes staring back at them from the darkness. They freaked out and hurried out, not wanting to discover what belonged to those bright eyes.
What the
The guy
hell?
later said he thought it might be a skinwalker, a scary creature from Native American legends.
Look how tall
Cyclops
it
statue.
is.
An explorer in
Again,
Wales stumbled
why-
upon a secret chamber inside Cyclops Cave.
I know the title was
The
about
cave was full
those
of weird
caves,
statues, but one stuck out.
but
Unlike anything else, this particular sculpture had a single giant eye in the middle of its forehead. Other things inside the cave were ancient, dating back to 6,000 to 5,500 BC. That's super ancient.
and oh
This
man,
discovery makes us wonder what inspired people to create this one-eyed figure so long ago. The cave also had handprints on the walls, which you do not see often in desert areas. The next revelation will intrigue lovers of archaeology. Weapon cache archaeologists in Israel made a sensational discovery in the Judean desert. They found a hidden stash of 4 ancient swords, nearly 1,900 years old, all in fantastic condition. The swords were tucked away in a crack in a cave in the Ein Gedi Nature Reserve. Experts believe Jewish rebels hid them during the wars against the Romans between 60 and 65 AD. These swords are between 23.5 and 25.5 inches long and have well-made wood or metal handles. The swords were carefully transported to a special climate-controlled lab by the Israel Antiquities Authority.
and now they're gonna be fucked
This
up.
exciting find has researchers
Should've
even more
left 'em
eager
where they
to
were.
uncover more hidden treasures. Egyptian mummy archaeologists near Cairo, Egypt, made an incredible discovery. They found
Maybe
the
this is
remains
why
of a
people be going to
2500
caves. You never know what you'll
mummy,
find.
believed to be a high priest. The dig site revealed hidden tombs and chambers filled with ancient treasures.
Wow.
Along with the mummy, they found mysterious artifacts like an old Egyptian board game, the bones of a dog, a wax head, and even jars used to store the mummy's organs. This discovery is helping us learn more about how ancient Egyptians buried their dead and
Hold
gives
on.
us valuable clues.
Maybe it's me, but coffins usually resembles the size of the person that passed away. Like you wouldn't put a 6'5" person in a coffin that's made for like a 5'8" person. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna rewind But I want y'all to look at the coffin. Look at the size of the head of the coffin thing next to the person. Is that any way indication that the people back then were like these people were big? I don't know. Maybe I just noticed the
Wax
weird
head,
stuff.
and even jars used to store the mummy's organs. This discovery is helping us learn more about how ancient Egyptians buried their dead and gives us valuable clues about the history and culture of the region back then. It's like peeking into the past. The most shocking.
Have you ever looked in the
Oh
mirror and
my
thought to yourself,
God, with
wow,
the
I thought I'd
commercials.
be further along, I'd be better off than I am right now? Have you got
Do you want to invest but don't
Really?
know where to start?
Oh,
Check out the Weeble app, an
oh.
easy-to-use
They're
It's like
gonna get
peeking
their
into the
10
past.
seconds.
The most shocking part is yet to come.
They gonna get the
Giant's Den.
motherfuckers.
In 2016, a strange video went viral. It was filmed at Giant's Causeway
I
in
remember
Northern
seeing a
Ireland.
video about
This
that.
natural wonder is famous for its unique rock formations. But this
Ugh.
video showed something incredible. A giant wall of rocks was opening and closing by itself. The video sparked a lot of curiosity and investigation.
What do you guys think
Some
about?
people
Have you
thought it
guys
might
seen
be
the
a
video
giant
about
living
that?
there, squeezing in and out of a hidden space in the rocks. They even joked that the giant might be hibernating for the winter. Scientists examined the area closely,
Look how
checking
big
every
it is
rock
next to
face,
them people,
but
and
they
they talk
couldn't
about
find evidence of a
squeezing.
giant or a doorway. While they couldn't prove a giant lived there, this whole thing made way for many more people to visit Giant's Causeway. The mystery of the moving rocks turned this natural attraction into an even bigger tourist destination.
Could that be the
Peru's
government?
giant
And they just got
A
peeped out.
family on a trip to Peru captured something strange on camera. Two giant human-like figures were found standing on a mountaintop. These were different from your average hikers. The figures towered over the mountains, making even people far away seem tiny. The video quickly spread online, with many people suggesting they are wild mountain giants.
Y'all believe in
Some
giants?
crazier ideas suggest these might even be visitors from another planet. Unfortunately, the video
Don't
quality
forget, you
wasn't
guys,
excellent,
like the
so it's
video,
hard to say what the
please.
figures are. Could they be giant statues, a strange camera
Give me
trick,
some
or something
feedback on
mysterious?
how I can do
The
better
blurry
on my
video leaves more
reactions.
questions than answers, but stirs the
Tips on
imagination.
working live.
The biggest reveal is yet to come. Keep watching. Mexican Bigfoots. In the mountains of
Mexican
Utah,
Bigfoot.
two deer hunters stumbled
I'm
upon
not gonna
something
go
strange.
there.
It was a prominent dark figure moving through a field. Worried for their safety, they filmed it quickly and kept going. Later, when they reviewed the footage, they were in for a shock. The figure was significant, much taller than any human they'd seen. Could it be a Sasquatch, also known as Bigfoot? Utah has a long history of sighting these hairy giants, so maybe it wasn't a
Utah,
crazy idea after all.
Arkansas.
The blurry video leaves more questions than answers, but it sure adds to the legend of Bigfoot. Another Utta giant. A group of
Another
friends
Utah
exploring the hills
giant.
near Provo in Utah once came across a giant figure walking through the snow. This thing was huge, way too big to be a regular person. Whispers of Sasquatch filled the air once again. Excited and a little nervous since it wouldn't be the first Bigfoot sighting in Utah, the friends grabbed their cameras and tried to follow the creature. Unfortunately, they lost track of it quickly, leaving them with more questions than answers. One thing they did find: giant footprints in the snow, unlike any deer tracks they'd ever seen. Scientists might doubt the existence of Bigfoot, but these strange sightings and blurry videos keep people wondering what's lurking in the wilderness. Could there be something out there? Or is it just our imagination? You're on the edge of your sight, and it's about to get better. Mountain mystery in the Pyrenees. 2 years ago, tourists visiting the snow.
Now, I should have came here first. These, yeah, you can make a case either way for these.
Peaks of the Pyrenees in Spain caught sight of something extraordinary.
Y'all
They
make
shot
sure
a
y'all
video
look
of a white
into
figure
look them
standing
up.
on a
Natural
mountaintop.
Discoveries.
Was it a real-life abominable snowman, also known as a Yeti? Authorities from a nearby ski resort attempted an investigation, but without any clear evidence.
With
the mystery
video,
remained
not
unsolved.
just stories. This
Many
is what I'm
doubted the
talking
creature's
about.
authenticity. This wasn't the only encounter with the unexpected in recent times. In Tunisia, archaeologists also encountered a creature from the
I don't
depths
know.
of
That
time,
looked like a bear
a
to me.
well-preserved prehistoric crocodile. This discovery reminds us that the natural world can still surprise us, even in unexpected ways. Army saves climber. After 2 days, Babu, an adventurer from India, found himself in a precarious situation during a climb
I
with
remember
friends
this
in
video.
Kerala,
He was
India.
stuck on a
He
ledge for like
slipped and got
3 or
trapped in
4
a steep
days.
canyon after stepping on a weak rock layer. His friends immediately called for help. Villagers and local authorities attempted rescue missions, but Babu's precarious position and the harsh environment made it too dangerous. For 2 long days, Babu remained stuck, while the hope of his friends, villagers, and the local authorities dwindled. Finally, the chief minister intervened, seeking the help of the Indian army. Responding swiftly, trained army officers embarked on a daring rescue mission.
That's
They
crazy.
meticulously crawled for hours to reach Babu, prioritizing his safety above all else. Once they reached him, they provided him with water and reassurance. Finally, with the army's expertise, Babu was safely brought back to the top of the hill, ending his ordeal. This dramatic rescue has drawn comparisons to the film 127 Hours. But
That was
unlike
a
the
good movie.
Babu's story has a happy ending thanks to the swift action and skill
That was
of
a
the
hell of a
Indian Army.
movie.
Stay tuned for the next big revelation: saltwater crocodile. A social media post has people discussing a giant fossil found in Cape Jervis, Australia.
I believe
The
that's
supposed
real,
fossil is of
man.
a
I
saltwater
mean,
crocodile, and it's enormous, estimated to be 50 tons. While some people are excited about the discovery, others are skeptical. They think it might be a fake, an ancient crocodile replica, or even a statue carved out of rock. One reason they doubt its objective is because the fossil seems to have precise slits for eyes, which wouldn't be preserved in a real fossil. Real or fake, this giant crocodile is a head scratcher. More investigation is needed to solve this mystery. Utah giant.
When you're craving a vintage evening, any evening, Pilsner IPA.
This strange footage from Salt Lake City, Utah, has people confused. Here is a weird dark
see,
shape
Utah got
against
a
the
lot of
evening
shit, a lot of
clouds,
stuff
almost
going
like
on.
a giant person sitting on the mountainside. People who saw it were creeped out. It did look like a vast human silhouette. There are all sorts of ideas about what it could be. Some people think it might be related to the work in the nearby rock quarry. Others have wilder theories, suggesting it's a giant humanoid living in the mountains. Unfortunately, the video leaves more questions than answers without a clear explanation. Is it a giant, a trick of the light, or something else entirely? The mystery continues. Cockroach. Welcome to the Borneo Island. Millions of bats and cockroaches live in this enormous Ganong cave.
Y'all can
which is
keep that
taller than
one.
a 30-story building. The cave has 2 main sections, the black and white cave. It might sound creepy, but Ganong Cave is a popular tourist destination. If you dare to enter, you'll see tons of bats, swiftlet birds, and a lot of cockroaches.
I can see
These
my phone
creatures
about to
leave
get
behind
busy.
droppings that attract even more cockroaches, which is how the cave got its name.
Listen, they can keep that one all to themselves. Unfortunately, I got a little situation I have to handle. I need to end the live right now, but we're going to continue this on. We're going to continue this on, guys.